Project Hail Mary is not a sci-fi movie. Almost every sci-fi movie ever, even horror sci-fi, like Thing, they all are like secretly or not so secretly about humanity. What makes us human? What separates us? What we're worth? It's the genre's like whole thing. But I don't think that's what Project Hail Mary is doing at all. I think this movie is about something that has nothing to do with being human specifically. I think it's about what it means to be alive in general.
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Hey now. What's up, Marvin?
What's good, man?
What's up, folks at home? Welcome back to the Harsh Language Podcast. This is episode 171. Today on the show, we're covering the hottest movie in town right now, Project Hail Mary. So I was excited to see this. I've heard nothing but good things about it. People are ranting and raving about it. Might be the greatest movie of all time. I don't know, depending on who you ask. But no, it's a sci-fi movie. It's out right now. For those of you that don't know, it's based on a book, a very popular book that came out in recent years, and it's a very popular movie. I'm actually surprised it didn't come out in the summer because it definitely has like summer blockbuster vibes to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, it's doing great, and we're going to tell you about it today. It's a sci-fi movie, but I'll be honest with you, it's a sci-fi movie that I think is pretty different than the traditional sci-fi movie. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. So stick around. We got a lot of news to cover, some interesting stuff this week going on. But how was your 2 weeks off, Marvin? You been doing anything cool?
Oh, it was cool. Well, my cousin had a baby, so that's why I was gone the first week. I went to see the baby. Yep, congrats to him. And then last weekend was Mother's Day, so of course, Mother's Day stuff. Yeah.
Nice. What'd you do for Mother's Day?
Just went to chill with the fam, with mom.
Nice.
Yeah, relaxing day. It was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
You been watching anything good, Marvin?
I mean, I've been watching. I watched the Punisher thing.
Oh yeah.
Want to start with that?
Yeah, let's talk about it. What do you think? Punisher.
The last kill. One last kill.
One last kill. He had many last kills, but it was good.
That was crazy. It was a big kill. Kill is
They should have just called it Punisher
plural.
Kill.
Yeah, Punisher Kill, like a fuck.
Yeah, I've been seeing.
Caveman.
I always say when we talk about stuff like, it's got mixed rated. People talk. I should stop doing that because like who the could really tell anymore these days because the internet just hates everything no matter what. And just like
hates everything. Everything's got paid reviews. It's hard to tell.
Everything's divisive. So of course people are arguing about it and it has mixed reviews. But that said, I watched it and it was everything I expected it and wanted it to be. So I left satisfied. I'm curious how you feel about it.
Honestly, it was just okay for me. Bernthal's emotional performance definitely carried bigly on this. I didn't think the plot was anything spectacular. A lot of it didn't actually even make sense. Like, why would he not just simply kill Mama Nucci? Like, if someone's put a hit on your head and they're in front of you, probably should just take them out. But whatever, that's just,
She's got to stick around for more Punisher stuff, Marvin.
That is true. Yeah, I guess he has to have.
She's actually one of his biggest villains, and I've been looking forward to her appearance for a very, very long time. That's the only thing I could assume is that they just wanted to keep her around for like a future show of his or something like that.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's definitely like a plot thing, but like it just doesn't make sense. Like of all the people he's killed and all, he killed their entire family. Like
he would have put her down instantly.
But it's whatever. Hey, it makes sense if it's for more future content.
Yeah,
that CGI when he fell was terrible though.
Well, guess what? You fell for it because it wasn't CGI.
What was it?
The whole of the internet was
claymation.
Was shitting on that. I myself laughed at it while I was watching it with Ed. I was like, that looks like a cutscene from The Last of Us. He looked like Joel. You talking about when he fell onto the air conditioning unit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody thought that was CGI, and so people were kind of dogging on it on the internet for a couple days after. And I think Marvel themselves or somebody from the production was like, "Yeah, you think that's bad? Guess what? That was an in-shot effect. That was nothing. There was no CGI. That was his body. It was just in slow-mo. The only thing they replaced in that scene was swapping out the stunt guy's face for
There's no way.
Bernthal's face, and probably the like the safety apparatus that they landed on.
How? No. There's no way.
I think
How is that?
Here's what I think, because I thought about it and I've watched it many times since that clip.
It looks fake. There's just no way that's not CGI or something.
I think it's because it's in slow motion, and his face is clearly CGI, and I think it just tricks the brain into just thinking that the whole thing is CGI. If you watch it in slow-mo a bunch of times and just look at the body, like, you could tell it's real.
I'm watching it right now. I don't
Ignore the face, Marvin. Ignore the face. But yeah, so I'm in agreement with you. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I don't think that was its goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you got them dry eyes again?
Something's going on.
Oh,
I had sunscreen on earlier. So.
Oh no, it got in your eyes. But yeah, I don't think it was aiming to be anything spectacular. So I was able to, like, I wish it was longer. It was too short because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but
it was
like,
short. Yeah.
The Punisher, you kind of know what you're getting with him, right? Like, it's just that. It's this. It's just him slaughtering people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why you watch something like that. But that's just the surface. Like, the Punisher is a very, like, in-depth character, and I really like the way his show on Netflix portrayed him.
Yeah.
They really brought out that I think I had recommended you to read it, but I don't know if you did yet. But there's a Garth Ennis run of Punisher called Punisher Born, which is like,
yeah, I still have to read it. I got it on my list.
I think it's one of the best Punisher portrayals there is, and it really goes into his PTSD and how he's like a broken man and he's not well, and like he is crazy and he knows he's crazy, but he still has this like and so I think John Bernthal like pulls that off tremendously.
I agree.
And so I think what this was because like, I don't know why they do these snapshot things. Like with Werewolf by Night, I kind of understood it because it's characters that have nothing to do with the MCU really right now. And almost like a beta test sort of to see, I don't know. I don't really know the purpose of that. This one, I understand the purpose of it even less because it's like he's in Spider-Man.
Right.
Which comes out in 2 months. So or 3 months, I forget. But I think this might have just been to bridge the gap between his series and like now him in the MCU, because his series, the 2 seasons, were very much about his quest for vengeance. Shut up, Siri.
Right.
He's driven by revenge. He's driven by vengeance and pain and anger and all this stuff. And by the end of this, spoilers, we see the transition from Frank Castle into the Punisher.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the things that the fans complained about with his shows, and this even, is that we never really get to see him wearing the skull. And anytime he's in Daredevil show or his own show, he wears the skull for like 2 seconds. So this was sort of like, but that's because Frank he doesn't want to be like, he doesn't have goals and ambitions to be like a hero or a vigilante. He just wants vengeance for his family.
Right.
This is him now. He's done that. He got the vengeance, and he hasn't. His purpose is done. That's why he's in this. He's getting ready to f off himself. Spoilers.
Yeah. Yep.
But by the end, he realizes like, no, there's people out there that need exterminating, and I'm going to be the one to do it because the law doesn't go far enough. These pansy ass heroes in costumes don't go far enough. I'm going to go far enough. And so I think it's really cool. It was effective in that. You don't need a whole season for that, really, to be honest.
I think it was super effective, and it's like a feeler, I guess. Make sure people are still,
I think so, yeah,
interested, so they can see the numbers and all that. And apparently, it got good ratings and stuff.
It did, yeah.
Because they announced something, right? Like another something with Punisher that's coming out.
Oh,
I saw some kind of.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I can't remember where I saw it, but I'll try to find
Jamie, look that up.
it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought it was good. Like, yeah, it was empty. Wasn't really much story to it. It's just like, hey, we got you survived the day. It had a feel of like The Raid, which is a movie that you probably should see if you haven't. Fucking amazing. It might be maybe we'll make that a Make Mormon watch soon. But yeah, it's an unbelievable movie. If you like around and find out movies, that is a good one. It's mostly just like a martial arts movie, kind of like. But yeah, so I thought it was cool for what it was.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him in Spider-Man. I'm curious what his role is going to be. I think he's an interesting character to have in the MCU as well, because it's like he represents an uncomfortable truth of that, like, yes, like, what is justice? That's like this whole thing with Daredevil and the seasons on Netflix. It's like what you do, Daredevil, doesn't go far enough. You put these guys in jail, they get out, and they do the same shit all over again. What I do is it's final. It's like they have no chance to fuck around again.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting moral gray area, because I'll be honest, I talk about it all the time. I'm like, I've got like the Superman mentality. Ideally, that's like the kind of person I want to be, who's like forgiving and like kind and hopeful and sees the best in people. But that's why Superman, again, stands above everybody else, because it takes a lot to be like Superman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most people are like Frank Castle. Oh,
one could say Superman's a little privileged in that regard, because he is invincible to basically, right? So like someone like Punisher can't just like, he could die. You know, somebody could just come pop him in the head. Superman doesn't have to worry about like, oh, this guy, give him another chance, you know, because he's
well, that's why
Superman.
That's why when Superman
so there's a difference.
That's why when Superman is attacked, he's attacked by his love of humanity. That's why Lex killed
that's true.
The poor falafel guy in Superman.
Yeah.
But and thus is the proof right here of why the arguments about why when people say, oh, comic book characters are so shallow and boring.
Yeah.
It's like this the dumbest comment ever, because we're talking about like this moral quandary that these characters give us, where like Superman, like in Superman's movie, when Hawkgirl drops the president of Baravia, she's like, I'm not like Superman, and drops him. Like that's the whole movie right there. That's the whole thing. No, nobody's like Superman. So you're not lucky that he didn't show up. You'd have been lucky that he would have showed up. But Punisher, most people are like Punisher. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, you murdered a fucking kid, or you R-worded somebody, you're done. No more second chances. Yep. And so, but I don't want to be that person. Like I, as a progressive, like politically and socially, you know me, like I believe in like a justice system that doesn't punish people, but that tries to like rehabilitate. But like there is a part of me that's like something I can't reconcile with. That's hard for me to reconcile with. It's just like, no, I think a lot of people do deserve to just get whatever the Punisher does. Some people do deserve to get punished, in my opinion. And so I just think it raises an interesting question. And so far he's been done really well. And it explores like what it means, what PTSD is, and like how his show explored how we treat veterans when they come home from wars.
Similar to Rambo, First Blood.
Oh, exactly like that. I love the Punisher. I think he's a great character. I think he's very compelling, and I can't wait to see more of him. I hope we get like another show. I think he's good show material. I don't think we need like a Punisher movie. Maybe we could, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be interested to see what they would do with it. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. But yeah, I think there is a lot. Like it is not just as shallow as people say. Like Superman versus Punisher is like the death penalty versus rehabilitation in prison. Like which one, you know? And it's like you said, it's not so black and white as far as like everyone should be punished in that way versus rehabilitated, because I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's countries where they do rehabilitation, where like prison is like a resort. Yeah. And they have a very high success rate of rehabilitating criminals, hardened criminals that committed murder and stuff, and putting them back out into society and becoming contributing members of society, and then people will argue and be like, well, that's very different here, but it's not different here. We just have privatized prisons, so you're just conditioned to think that that's what is needed.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think as a character, he raises a lot of really cool questions. And then as far as this goes specifically, One Last thing I'll say about One Last Kill, I really did enjoy it for what it was. I wish it was longer. I hope we get more, but overall I enjoyed it. And fans seem to be receiving it well. It's got a 7.3. So always you hear on social media like, oh, CGI was bad. It was like even if it was CGI, it's like a 2-second clip. It's not even that long. It's like 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Speaking of Punisher, actually, I found something out this week that I was really, really upset about. Have you seen the original Punisher movie with Thomas Jane?
No, you guys always talk about it, but I've never actually seen it. Nope.
It's one of like my favorite like pre-MCU comic book movies. And I've always liked Thomas Jane as an actor.
Me too.
And he also he loved the character so much and loves comic books. He did a YouTube short, like a short film called Dirty Laundry about the Punisher after the movie had come out, where it's like he's doing laundry one day in a laundromat and he sees some riffraff like with somebody on the street and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And it's really good. But he was on a podcast I recently discovered. Thomas Jane was talking about his time on the movie The Mist, which I had brought up to you, that Stephen King adaptation.
Yep.
That's the one that was directed by Frank Darabont. Frank Darabont has done a bunch of Stephen King stuff, Shawshank, Green Mile. Frank Darabont also created the Walking Dead show. He was like he did the first 2 seasons and notoriously got blackballed by AMC, left the show, and then won like a $200 million lawsuit like years later from AMC because they tried to like withhold money from him and all this stuff. And now Frank Darabont's just like not even in the film industry anymore. He said fuck it. He's like, fuck this. I don't want to deal with it.
Nice.
Basically like John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I think the most recent thing he did was he directed a couple of episodes of the last season of Walking Dead. I mean, Stranger Things. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyhow, he directed The Mist with Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane was talking about it, and they were friends because of that movie. They became friends. Thomas Jane said on the podcast, turns out that Frank Darabont wanted Thomas Jane to star in The Walking Dead when he was developing it. And Thomas Jane...
That would have been crazy.
Well, guess what? They tried to bring it to HBO at first. But HBO turned it down because they didn't want 2 monster shows running at the same time. The other being True Blood. Oh,
God. Dude.
Right.
No. They could have definitely coexisted easily.
Yeah. So I found out about this and I'll never get over it. Could you imagine?
I'm gonna go cry tonight. That's crazy.
Imagine what Walking Dead would have been. Walking Dead was good for a little bit.
It was great for a little bit, but Thomas Jane as Rick?
Oh my gosh.
Dude, what? Yeah, I started reading it. I don't know if you know, but they actually were doing a full color run of it. Like they're redoing it in full color. So I started reading that, but it wasn't caught up. So once I ran out, I was like, oh shit, well, now I'll just read the black and white OG.
That's cool.
And I finished it. That shit was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The other thing Thomas Jane said while he was on the podcast, something that I'm very excited about, he is in a TV adaptation of another Stephen King book called From a Buick 8. So let's get excited about that. Just so much Stephen King stuff all the time. Like it's just all good to be.
It's got infinite content.
It's just good to be a Stephen King fan, Like even if they do a bad adaptation, you're getting an adaptation,
At least, yeah.
I'm a massive Superman fan. I got 1 movie in the last 15 years.
Right. Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest characters of all time. So I mean, figure that shit out.
Is this related to
Christine? No.
I'm drawing a blank. Christine? Yeah, no, it's not. Okay.
It's a similar story.
What is this about? Mysterious card that may be a portal to another world. Oh, that's cool.
Yes. So this is very heavily tied to his multiverse story, the Dark Tower.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this should be good. I'm excited for this, especially since our other boy, Mike Flanagan, is adapting the Dark Tower series soon. So
I can't wait for that.
okay. Well, folks, be sure to leave a like on the video if you're still watching and are enjoying the content. The best way to let us know, leave a like. Better yet, leave a comment. Get involved. Let us know your thoughts on some of this stuff. Are you excited for From a Buick 8? Have you ever read it? Do you wish Thomas Jane was in The Walking Dead like I do? What do you think of The Punisher? Leave your thoughts below. But let's move on to the news. Folks, Dusty, our other co-host, couldn't be with us today. He's our news guy, so all this stuff is sourced fresh by him from farm to table news every week, right here on the Harsh Language Podcast. Entertainment news, of course. So let's dive into it. Marvin, let me ask you a question. When there's something strange in your neighborhood, who are you going to call? You know, the Ghostbusters, Marvin.
Yeah, I know.
We have apparently a release window for the third Ghostbusters animated series. I think there was one in the 80s and the 90s, and now there's this new one. It's coming to Netflix sometime in 2027. Dan Aykroyd is executive producing, and there's also a live action film in the works, but not much is known about this one, so they're good. Cat's happy.
Cat even, yeah.
Ghostbusters is the GOAT. Oh, that was a painful one. What are you doing to that poor guy?
No, that's normal. He's just loud. He's from the streets, Dan. That's
shit. He's one of the cats in Charlie's Alley from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ghostbusters make quite the resurgence thanks to Ghostbusters Afterlife from a couple years ago. I loved that movie.
Okay. I remember Afterlife, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first like remake or whatever.
Reboot.
Or sequel. Reboot.
Requel. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really good, that's like the bar for making reviving a 30-year-old franchise. And Frozen Empire wasn't quite as good, but it was still good. I enjoyed it.
I didn't see that one actually.
I don't know what the plans are for an animated series, but if Dan Aykroyd's part of it, that's enough for me. I will definitely watch it. I used to love the animated.
Are the kids going to be voicing, or is it going to be?
I don't know if they're voicing, but I would imagine they're like in it. Like they're the characters, excuse me.
Right.
Netflix had previously confirmed that a new Ghostbusters TV show is in the works, but now we also know when to expect its debut on the streaming platform. The high-end animated series is reportedly set to premiere sometime in 2027. A lot of other details are still under wraps, but the biggest update is that the original franchise's co-creator Dan Aykroyd has boarded the project as an executive producer alongside Ben Hibben, Elliot Kahn, Jason Reitman, who directed Afterlife and helped write Frozen Empire. So yeah, this seems cool. Listen.
Yeah, that's cool.
You can't give me enough Ghostbusters shit. Just give me more Ghostbusters shit, except for the remake that came out in a couple years back with all the women comedians. That was painfully unfunny.
Oh, I remember that. I never saw that either.
Yeah, it gets a lot of hate from like the anti-woke people, but in this particular case, the hate is worth it. The hate is worth it because it was not good.
Yeah.
You can't take a beloved franchise and then make a mid movie out of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So moving on. Remember when we talked about Scream a couple of weeks back, Scream 7?
Yeah.
We talked about all the craziness that happened with the firing of Melissa Barrera because she was speaking out against the genocide and all this stuff. Well, she finally broke her silence on Scream 7 after 3 years. So this was a big deal back in 2023 when she got fired. For one, it's outrageous that she got fired for saying something that's like everybody should be saying, number one.
Yes.
And number two, it's like a big franchise movie. It's a huge IP. And now your main actress, who was carrying the torch of the franchise, is no longer in it. Well, so she ended up getting removed from Scream 7. She got pushed out of her talent agency, for those of you that don't remember. Jenna Ortega ended up leaving the film. The director ended up leaving the film, and then they scrambled to get things back together. They brought back Nev Campbell as Sidney Prescott and gave us what is Scream 7, which is a generationally terrible movie.
So they lost everything for making a terrible decision. Then they make a terrible decision by making the killers use AI in the movie.
Yep. And now
It's
Melissa
crazy.
Barrera, well, she's questioning whether or not Scream 7's box office numbers are legit. If you remember, when we watched Scream 7 and we've talked about it, I said this is still somehow the highest grossing film in the Scream series. According to all official box office reporting, Scream 7 made $207 million at the worldwide box office this year, making it the highest grossing single installment in the franchise to date. Well,
Wow.
Melissa Barrera, she thinks otherwise. She said, let's be real, the seventh one sucked. Variety's interviewer says to the actress at one point, Barrera responded, I know, and I think they lied about the numbers. I don't think it made that much money.
Oh, shit.
But at the stage door, I sign Scream things every night. People who love me from those movies are coming to see the show, and they can't ever take that away from me. I guess she's in like a play or something.
Oh, okay.
She goes on to say the only way they were able to make that movie after what happened was to nostalgia bait as much as possible. Not untrue. Quote, Spyglass
She's
brought
right.
back cast members from the previous Scream films. Did that seem scabby to you? Did it feel like those were people basically crossing the picket line? Oh, that was Variety asking again. Barrera responds, oh, 100%. I think they all are. And they have to live with that.
She's kind of right, though.
I agree.
She's kind of right.
When you're doing
no solidarity in this game, I guess.
Hell no. And oh man, we got a story about that. But yeah, no, this is crazy. It's
you know what it is?
It's a scary precedent.
BB's buying up movie tickets. He hooked them up.
I just think it's funny that literally when I sit down and watch a movie for us to talk about on the podcast, I don't want to just put out a video that's like, it was a good or bad. That's boring and stupid.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And with that movie, I was like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? Obviously, this is the big thing. And I was like, well, how is this movie this bad, but still the highest grossing movie? In my mind, I was like, well, let's answer that question. That's an interesting thing to explore. We all agreed, like, well, it's media. Well, it's, you know, it's a devotion to the franchise. That fans love it so much. Maybe it's not. Maybe it literally was fake numbers.
Worldwide, 166 million.
Scream 6. And that one was bad too.
And that one was bad.
She also went on to say, the reality is that Scream is always going to be a big part of me because it was 2 years of my life, gave me a lot, and I'm grateful specifically to Matt and Tyler who gave me the shot. That hasn't been soured for me. They don't have that power. So interesting. Scream 7, box office success, but not a good movie.
Bot office.
I like what you did there, Marvin. What do you folks think?
Office.
You should. You'll sell out. You'll sell out. Everybody sells out. What do you guys think? Was Scream 7 box office real? Or was it made up and fake like everything else that exists nowadays? Moving on. This was big. I couldn't believe this. I don't even know if it's real.
Oh, yeah. This is crazy.
There's a rumor going around, Marvin, that apparently Disney is removing the Star Wars sequel trilogy from their timeline to refocus on...
Oh, my God. This is crazy.
To just refocus on original characters. Now, is this real? I can't say for sure.
Is this even a good decision, though? Because we talk about how we already have enough of the Golden Boy, you know, Mr. Skywalker.
Mr. Skywalker.
The GOAT, some might say. We've had enough of his story, right? Like, do we want to go back to more? Can we get something different? Is that possible?
Well, I mean, depends on what kind of writer they bring in. If they bring in guys like Gilroy, you get Andor.
Have you watched it yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I'll get there. Don't worry. It's coming. It's coming. But according...
This has got to be like the biggest retcon of movie history. almost like.
I'm
It's
skeptical.
definitely one of the most expensive,
Yes.
if it's true. Because
Yes.
I don't know how much they spent on these movies, but it had to be a lot.
Yeah, I'm skeptical, but a new insider reports that they could be preparing to split the controversial Star Wars sequel off into its own isolated timeline. Did you watch Did you watch them? I don't remember.
The Star Wars Elseworld. I actually watched the first one. Yeah, I watched the first one. I didn't watch the entire new trilogy.
Because they really are bad. And disjointed and like, because TLDR, Force Awakens was supposed to like revive it, bring it back after all these years, introduce it to a new audience for new people while also pandering to the old audience. It kind of failed at both things, personally, if you ask me.
Catering, not pandering, maybe.
Catering, yeah.
Maybe.
It's a fine line. It failed on both things. And so it made $1 bajillion though, because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, of course.
Well, then
maybe that's also why they don't give a fuck to retcon it. They made the money off of it, right? So it's like,
yeah,
who
money.
gives a fuck?
Yeah, they don't care. So
money's still good.
The second one kind of took this, like, they didn't plan it out. That's really all. I don't have to explain it all. They just didn't plan the trilogy out. And so from 1 to 2 to 3, it's like 1 established its thing, 2 completely like disintegrated everything they established in the first one. Which was the right move, to be honest. Rian Johnson directed it. He made the right decision. He's like, hey, let's now move the franchise forward into a new place. But everybody hated it. And so then they made the third one, which was an emergency fix for what he did.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's like all over the place. It's disjointed, scattered, and terrible.
That's crazy.
So apparently a source close to Lucasfilm claims internal discussions are underway to branch off the Star Wars sequel trilogy to effectively remove it from the primary continuity and allow future storytelling to pivot back toward legacy characters from the originals, whom are all dead now. Spoilers. There are no original characters left except for Chewbacca. So I don't know what the fuck they're going to do.
There we go.
If true, this would be one of the most dramatic franchise shifts in modern Hollywood history.
Yeah.
You said it yourself, Marvin.
I can't believe this. This would be insane.
A recent focus group conducted by Matthew Bellani of the Puck News paints a bleak picture of where younger audiences stand with Star Wars. When teens were asked about the franchise, the response wasn't passionate debate or excitement. It wasn't even hate or anger. It was indifference. Quote, I like the old stuff, but the new stuff, nah. I'm not too excited for The Mandalorian. I never watched it personally, one teen said.
Wow.
Now, apparently,
Mandalorian's good, though.
No, it's not. It is. It's okay, and now it's over. It's like it's boring. It's all the same. Like they've
movies coming.
They've sucked the life out of it.
Yeah. Or actually, is the movie already out?
I think it's out already. Yeah.
Okay.
And oddly enough, Andor was the only thing spoken positively about Star Wars, like modern Star Wars stuff. But Mandalorian and Grogu, you just mentioned, it's currently tracking for around $80 million domestic opening. This was, it comes out Memorial Day. So it's tracking for a pretty bad box office. It would make it the lowest debut in Star Wars theatrical history.
Oof,
even accounting for a reportedly smaller budget. It's a glaring warning sign. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, because Mandalorian is them technically doing something different, right? Like,
yeah, listen, I like The Mandalorian. It was good for like 1 or 2 seasons, maybe 3.
Right.
But now we're good.
Yeah.
They're trying to suck the life out of it and little baby Grogu so they could sell more toys and merchandise and shit.
Right.
That's the problem. They're making movies to make merchandise. They're not making good baby stories. Grogu. That's what they want. How much merchandise do you think they got out of fucking Andor?
Not a lot.
Okay. So now this is where here's where the story begins to actually gain a little bit of credibility in my eyes. According to some people, at Disney's Galaxy's Edge, which is their big Star Wars exhibit, it's very immersive apparently. Cast members there, because they have actors dressed up as characters, portraying Ahsoka, have reportedly been giving a very specific, very consistent explanation when guests ask why characters from different eras aren't appearing together. The answer is, quote, world between worlds has been shattered and disrupted. So this concept introduced in Star Wars Rebels is essentially a dimension that connects all points in time and space, making it a perfect narrative tool for timeline manipulation. We love timeline manipulation.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Marvel.
Yeah. So apparently Disney park performers don't improvise like this. So it's not just it's something that they've been scripted to say.
Right.
So that begs the question. Their responses are usually pretty tightly controlled and whatever. So it seems like this is a plan to introduce the seeds and lay the groundwork for a timeline split. Supposedly beyond the parks, there are signs Disney has been backing away from the sequel era. Recent merchandising campaigns for the May the 4th that just passed heavily favored the original trilogy. The Fortnite crossover event leaned in the same direction. Galaxy's Edge itself has begun shifting its in-universe timeline, allowing characters like Luke, Han, and Princess Leia to appear more prominently. Meanwhile, sequel-era elements have been noticeably reduced. Remember, Rey was supposed to be the future of the franchise. She was supposed to get her own film recently. That dried up. We don't know what's going on with that. She's been absent from major promotional pushes. We don't know what's going on with the standalone film, as I said. Then there's the Galactic Star Cruiser, which is a no longer operational hotel that was built entirely around the sequel trilogy timeline that lasted barely a year before shutting down. Became one of the most high-profile misfires in Disney Parks history. So there's some suspicious behavior going on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm saying there's some stuff
where there's
here.
Smoke. Yeah.
There's some stuff here to suggest this may be more than just a rumor. But would this be good for the franchise or not? I think this is terrible.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do because, like you said, when they try something new, it does work for a little while. Like Mandalorian, it works for a little while. So how often are they going to be able to recreate something new? Because, everyone loves Andor, but it also was connected, largely connected to the original story, which is what kind of made it.
Which we watched here on the podcast, and I genuinely don't remember talking about that movie here together.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I
don't know.
Go ahead.
I just don't know what the future looks like for Star Wars.
Doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good. Although the animated stuff is still doing very well. They just recently dropped that the Sith show. I forgot the name of it, but
yeah, with Darth Maul.
Yeah, what are the reviews for that looking like? Is that?
I don't know. My buddy told me to watch it. I don't really care.
You don't care because it's Sith stuff or because it's animated?
Because I just don't care. He's a character from the first prequel movie. Everybody had this love affair with him because he looked cool. Get over it.
Because he looked,
it's not. I don't think he's that. Star Wars isn't going anywhere. So
yeah.
I don't know why they would do this. If it was up to me, I would just hunker down and be like, no, you're getting these new characters, like it or not. Let's just
it's gotta go somewhere.
Make it good. But the thing is that they didn't make it good. That's the problem. They just rehashed the original story.
Right.
It's like, oh, the Empire's back, but it's called the First Order, and there's a new Darth Vader who talks just like Darth Vader, and there's a new Emperor who's that's not how
crazy.
People aren't gonna respond to that, you stupid People respond to stuff like Andor, that is an original story that also serves the original story.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Executives aren't smart people, I guess. I don't know. As long as executives...
that new Maul show does have pretty good reviews. 98% critic, 93% public or whatever. So people like it.
Interesting. But let's move on to the last piece of news here. Dusty loves to use a segue piece. This is the perfect segue because we were just talking about Star Wars. And this is relevant to the movie we're talking about here in a couple minutes. But Tom Cruise showed up to film an important scene for Star Wars Starfighter. and the logo got revealed. This is also going to be starring Ryan Gosling, and very little is known about the project, but Amazon earned $80 million during the opening weekend of Project Hail Mary, and since then it's surpassed $331 million to make it the biggest domestic film of the year, and it's obviously more than likely going to be up for a lot of the award nominations later in the year. I would not be surprised if we see Project Hail Mary popping up in award conversations.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But yeah, so Ryan Gosling is set to star in Star Wars Starfighter. We don't know anything about it.
I was gonna say, is this Top Gun in Star Wars?
Might
Top
be.
Gun in space?
Could be.
Wasn't there a different one?
Yes.
Yeah, what was that one called?
That was that was the one that Patty Jenkins was going to do.
Yeah.
Which was Rogue Squadron.
Oh, that's right. Yep, Rogue Squadron. That's right.
Which genuinely would have been good, probably, but this looks cool. Here's the logo. I like that. Nice and retro.
Yeah. That is awesome.
So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Ryan Gosling in all the shit.
He deserves it.
Give me more Ryan Gosling. We love Ryan Gosling here.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, there's the news, folks, and Marvin. Thank you, Dusty, for sourcing that for us, despite not being here, folks. Leave Dusty a like down below if you appreciate his news. Leave a comment on any of the stuff we talked about. Give us your input and what you think. What do you think about Star Wars? I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting. We're here to talk about Project Hail Mary this week. As I said, its box office is crazy right now. It's certainly going to be talked about by the award season. But I need to say something here, and it's going to sound wrong, Marvin.
Uh-oh.
But Project Hail Mary is not a sci-fi movie. Nah, it's a little clickbaity on my part, but I'm just being funny. But really, though, every sci-fi movie, like you think Arrival, Interstellar, Ex Machina, almost every sci-fi movie ever, even horror sci-fi, like The Thing, they all are like secretly or not so secretly about humanity. They're about what it means to be alive, what makes it, what makes us human, what separates us, what we're worth. It's the genre's like whole thing. But I don't think that's what Project Hail Mary is doing at all. I think this movie is about something that has nothing to do with being human specifically. I think it's about what it means to be alive in general. I think this movie really stands out among other sci-fi movies. And so I would like to discuss why I think that is.
All right, let's do it.
What do you think, though, real quick, about that? Like, is there a line between being human, being alive? Like, do you understand what I'm really going for with that?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's like the same thing about like, we are special as human beings on Earth, but it's not.
And in the universe. Don't shortchange us.
Yeah.
Marvin.
Yeah. But it's like, if there are other beings out there, what am I trying to say here? Like their experience isn't
any better or worse than ours, less significant than ours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the late great Carl Sagan, the GOAT, puts it, no matter what other life there may be, the only humans in all the universe come from Earth.
Right.
That's an interesting thing to think about.
True. That is true.
We are human because we are from Earth. Even if there is life that is 99% identical to us elsewhere, they're not human beings.
For sure.
Because they would have evolved under different circumstances on a different planet. They're not human. So we are significant. We've talked about this before with some other movies we've watched. But we are also insignificant because we are literally a blip in the universe and in time.
Yeah. Yep.
We are like a grain of sand we are like a single grain of sand on all the beaches of the earth. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
So in that, and from what we could tell so far, we are the only life, at least in at least in our galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, where the fuck is everyone? That's like a very famous like quote from the Fermi paradox. Is like, well, where is everybody?
Right.
So I think this movie really speaks to some of these topics. So briefly, this is directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. They are the creators of the Spider-Verse movies.
Okay.
Obviously very popular
So this
filmmakers.
is a bit different for them.
It is, but
this.
Isn't really at the same time. It does have their DNA, I feel like. I think if you watch this with Spider-Verse, you could feel like a lot of the similar vibes. This was written by Drew Goddard. Drew Goddard adapted it from a book, which was written by Andy Weir. Andy Weir also wrote The Martian, which was a very popular film. Andy Weir was actually, he was a scientist, and he kind of stopped doing science to become a writer. But all of his books have a lot of real science in them, including this one. As fantastical and sci-fi as this is, there's a lot of very real science used in this movie. In fact, he was on Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast talking about it, Star Talk. I'm going to link that in the video. So if you want to watch that later on, I highly recommend it. It adds a lot of substance to the movie and the book. I'm sure the book goes into more detail about some of the stuff, but he explains a lot about like how he arrived at some of the science in the movie, which I'll talk about as well. But, it stars Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace, and basically, he's a science teacher, and he wakes up alone on a spaceship, and he has no memory of what he's doing there, or why he's there. And over the course of the movie, he gradually pieces it together and discovers that he's actually on a suicide mission. And what's happening is that a mysterious substance is killing our star, the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sent to another star system that is not being affected by this same substance to sort of figure out why that star is immune and to send that information back to Earth. However, there's only enough fuel naturally for a one-way trip. So Earth is dying. Earth is cooling because of this solar dimming event. And the microbe is called astrophage, and he's our last hope. And that's basically the plot of the movie. However, throughout the movie, and there will be some spoilers here, so if you don't want any spoilers, I would probably come back later on when you've watched it, or wait till we release our spoiler-free review in like a week or so. But yeah, so along the way, he meets an unlikely friend and companion that will help him save really the universe or the galaxy at the very least.
Yeah.
So his friend that he does meet, since we're talking about stars of the movie, is named Rocky, and it's an alien being from another planet, another star system, who was also sent to this same star system to figure out why his home star is dying the way ours is. So we meet there's two characters from the complete extreme opposites of existence, really, that have to come together for a common goal, which is such a compelling and amazing concept for a story, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
So Marvin, first impressions. What did you expect going into this? Did you? Because I didn't know. I didn't watch any. Like, I didn't read anything about it. I had no idea what it was about. In fact, I was quite disinterested to watch it, if I'm being honest. And I don't know why.
I kind of feel you on that. I don't know if it was something about the cover art or whatever. I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't know really what it was about.
I didn't know who was writing it. I didn't know who directed it. If I had, I'd probably be a little more interested. But
the only thing that made me want to watch it was I love The Martian, so I figured I would enjoy this. But honestly, it was much better than I anticipated. Like, I loved everything about this movie, like literally everything. And I almost didn't want it to end. Like, this movie was mesmerizing from the very first scene. Like, that's how good it was. And I feel like I don't know, like you said, I don't know why I was hesitant to want to see this because I mean we both love sci-fi and like space shit, right? So it's like I don't know why what was off-putting about it, to be honest.
It wasn't like I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to watch this like specifically. It was more of like, I'll catch it.
Exactly.
Like,
I was indifferent. Like
I'll
why,
watch someday.
I wasn't motivated.
Like I had
and
watched the trailer about it a long time ago, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's cool. It's like just a space movie, and I love space,
Yeah.
so that's whatever. But I was like, ah. And then I
Right.
started hearing about the special effects about it. Remember when I had sent you guys like
Yeah.
a while back that they used a lot of practical effects for it, and I was like, okay,
which
cool,
is
whatever.
yeah, that's awesome.
Movie
Yeah.
looks great. And then I started hearing like all the fucking hype, and I was like, oh
The
shit,
rumblings.
now I gotta
Yeah.
see it. Okay. And
That's how
luckily
it was
for
for
us,
me.
some Russian leaked it. So
Shouts out to Russia.
shout out.
Came through.
Suka Bliet.
Yeah. But like I said, The Martian, and this was like so different, honestly, than The Martian.
It's very
same
different
writer.
than The Martian. Yeah.
I mean, different director too, right? So that
Mhm.
has a big part in it. But The Martian was so much more like felt serious. Not that this wasn't serious. It's like a galaxy-ending threat, but it's like
This is why I say it's got the DNA of the Spider-Verse.
mm,
I think a lot of that comes down to the direction and I guess Drew Goddard's treatment of it, but like it's a very serious subject matter,
right.
obviously, but it's like more of like it's more fantastical in a way because this is not something we've
For
experienced.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because The Martian's a survival movie.
right. It's way more like grounded, I guess
Yes.
you would describe it. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Even though we've never been to Mars, but yes, it is more grounded.
Yeah, exactly. But I do like that Andy Weir has that within him because they say that this is a lot like the book. So it's not like they made a lot of. I mean, they had to even like cut a lot of stuff out as they always have to do with the books. But
Yeah.
apparently, they said that the book, like the bond built between Rocky and Grace is one of the best things I've seen on the big screen. Honestly,
Mm.
and
It really
apparently
is.
the book was focused on that a lot too. So they really did it well to keep
Yeah.
that same feel.
Yeah, so going in, I really didn't have any expectation. I was kind of along for a blind journey, which I got to start doing more because it's so much better.
Yeah, it really is.
Even if you don't like the thing, it's still a better experience
Right.
because you don't have any expectations or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I, needless to say, also really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed everything about it. I cried just about through
Oh my God.
the entire movie.
It was bad. It
Like
was
the
bad.
whole movie. Like I'm talking shit that you probably didn't even cry at. Like obviously there's the
Probably because if I was getting teared up, I know you were getting like triple teared up
lost-
at just random shit.
I lost water weight from this.
Yeah.
But no, there's like very specific beats in the movie that are emotional, that some people are calling
Oh, for
cheap,
sure.
but I disagree.
Nah.
But I was just crying at the concept because you know how
Yeah.
I am. Like
Yeah.
I'm a big Carl Sagan fan. This is like my whole shit about like our place in the universe and like what life is, like the concept of life in the universe and the
Right.
scale. Like it's just that stuff really gets
Scale,
to me.
yeah. And the level of trust like they had to have between each other, like
Well, that aside, it's just any time like the thought of humanity going extinct,
Yeah.
it made me emotional because like we were just talking
yeah,
about,
yeah.
like we are here and we're special. Like someday the Earth won't be here anymore, and who knows what'll happen to humanity. Like
Right.
we humans, as we are right here and now, we won't be here anymore someday. We will either evolve
Yeah.
to a different type of species eventually if we make it that long, or we will move on to colonize other planets and stuff like that, or we're just gonna die. There's only one or
Yeah.
three things that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it's a very like weighted thing, and it's just, I don't know, it made me very emotional the whole time. And I think
Yeah. And not just that, but I actually like how the threat was to the entire galaxy and not just, the special blue planet that we inhabit,
and
right?
that
Like
and that's the
that
central
adds
part.
a level to it. Yeah.
That's my central argument here. It is not a sci-fi movie. Of course it is, but it's not a typical sci-fi movie because of that reason. Here it's not about what makes humans special and how to preserve humanity. It's
Yeah.
about how to preserve life.
Right.
And the movie, even, or the book, doesn't even suggest, it suggests, yes, of course, there's other life out there that's not human. We meet him, Rocky and his people. But we don't know if there's any other life out there.
Right.
Because if
who
there
else is on the way, like who didn't make it in transition, like it's crazy.
So the story still preserves that idea that these two species, humans and whatever this guy is, I forget his name, or his species name, Iridians, might be the only life out there.
Right.
And so no matter how you slice it, life is worth preserving, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what you don't see, the Iridians having wars over fake invisible borders and shit like that. Well, maybe they do, and we don't know about it, but
we don't know, right? But
one thing that I think was interesting is that this movie it uses amnesia as like a storytelling device. Again, he doesn't know who he is. He's rediscovering himself through what he's doing, not what he remembers, right? And that's key. He doesn't do things because he's remembering stuff. It's the opposite. And that is a very interesting framing, because in most cases, heroes in movies, not just sci-fi, they know who they are, and they know what their purpose is. They know what their goal is. Their humanity is the anchor. Let's think about The Thing, everybody's favorite movie. Humanity is the anchor in that movie. Through all the paranoia and distrust and crazy special effects and monsters, it comes down to humanity. It's the very question of the movie. Who is the human at the end, and who is the thing?
Right.
Grace has none of that. So in a way, I do you think that makes him more relatable or less relatable? Because I think it makes him more relatable, and personally.
I think it makes him more relatable. And I think it kind of goes to that thing where, like, you're not born a certain way, or you're not like born evil or whatever, right? Like these things are taught to you. Like, it kind of like reinforces that for me. Like the goodness was just in him naturally.
Yep.
Like, even when he's like, I made peace with it, but it's like, I was just saying that because it's like the right thing to do. Like, you want to do good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, it actually shows that the things that he's doing are instinctual.
Right.
Because he's not here being like, oh, I got to figure out why the star's dying or why our sun's dying, so let me make this and this to do it. He's doing those things as they come natural to him before he even knows why he was there, which is one of the most interesting framings I've ever seen for a character. Because again, a lot of times it's the opposite. I'm here for this goal, therefore I need to do this, this, and this. This is I'm doing this because this is like, it's just, oh, okay, like this happened, so I'm going to try this. Oh, fuck, this is triggering a memory for me. Oh, that's why. Okay. So I thought that was really awesome. I love the way that they did that, kind of like going back while also like we're moving forward and we're getting to the the end, but we're also learning like how we got here at the same time in bits and pieces. And it wasn't like an annoying way either. So no, and you compare that to a movie like Interstellar, where Cooper's doing everything he's doing mainly for his kids.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to save the world and stuff, but he's doing it for his kids.
Right.
That's his prime motivation. What's her name's character's doing it for her long lost love or whatever, Matt Damon. And so obviously Matt Damon in The Martian's doing it to survive. Like, this is very different. He's doing things instinctually as they come to him.
Yeah, because he's learning about, the people that he traveled there with, like they died, but he's seeing like, oh man, they had these family, like, you don't want to let these people down. Yeah. And
then that is accelerated even further when he does meet Rocky for the first time. And this is in this story, this is a first contact moment. This is the first time humans have discovered that there is other life out there. I mean, it was a first contact before because they realized that the mysterious substance is alive.
Right. Yeah.
And so we at least know there's microbial life out there. But now this is the first time we see intelligent life outside of our own. And it is such a magical, like playful thing when they start to like learn each other and how he like teaches the language and all that stuff. Obviously, there's a little plot holes and stuff there, but it's like, who fucking cares? There's like,
who cares? Like,
it doesn't
how
matter.
does Rocky understand him, right? Like, but who cares? I don't really care about that.
The portable Earth thinking machine.
Yeah.
And I like how they made Rocky was like simple in terms of like his speech, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like a caveman learning English.
He was like a working man, you know, like he's extremely good with his hands.
Mm-hmm.
He may not be like technologically like intelligent, but
that
doesn't make him dumb, you know?
And one thing the movie does, which is amazing, is that it uses science as a universal language, which is true and rooted in fact.
Yeah.
And I've talked to you about this before. Briefly, many years ago in the 70s, Carl Sagan and other scientists ordered two probes to be launched, into space, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, and they will travel endlessly forever.
Mm-hmm.
And their mission is to hopefully, just explore the solar system and stuff like that. But on the Voyager 1, they put on it this golden record, and on the golden record they recorded like a bunch of different Earth languages and music from Earth and pictures of different species on Earth, so that if it was ever intercepted by a alien civilization, they would understand the planet that it came from. And on the golden record they put on sort of like a map, so these would-be aliens would understand where in the universe this probe came from. And the thinking is that if a civilization was advanced enough to intercept the probe, they would understand the language of science, because science in the universe, it's universal. It's the only thing that's universal. That's why in the movie he uses math and stuff like that. But this is diagrams. Yep. And this is an image of what's on the golden record. And this basically is like a map to tell these aliens like how to understand our language, namely this here and this here. I have this and this tattooed on my back, actually.
Yep.
And this is a binary, and it defines the location of our sun utilizing 14 pulsars. So at the end of each of these branches is a pulsar, and it centralizes where Earth is. So it'll tell them, and the bars are like the frequency of the pulsar. So using this, they would be able to triangulate where the probe came from. And then this here is a diagram of the two lowest states of the hydrogen atom. Hydrogen would be the most common thing in the universe. And the vertical lines with the dots indicate the spin moments of the proton and the electron, which now creates a transition of time from one state to the other. This would provide a clock to the aliens that they could use to reference the time here in this binary. So it's a whole language. And they did this in the movie, which I thought was unbelievable, that they took that much time to make this introduction between a human and another species, like learn to communicate. It was really, really awesome. And that's a shout out to the writer, of course. So I really love that part.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole introduction was awesome. Just like from first seeing their craft, right? Like their spacecraft to them trying to communicate. I thought that was extremely well done. Like, he's like throwing the message, and he's like, they threw it fast at first, and he's like, he couldn't get it. And then they throw it slower. He's like, oh, they think I'm dumb.
Yeah. And this is where my central point comes from, right? Is where it swaps. Because as the audience, we know it's just like, oh, well, he's here for a mission to whatever. Like we learn with him basically. But this is where it kind of switches a little bit, because Rocky's not human, not even close to being human.
Not even close. Yeah.
Like he's this ambiguous crab-like rock creature.
Right. It's insane.
And the movie immediately asks, well, what do they share? And one of the big answers is curiosity about each other. Yeah. Not just curiosity, but the recognition that like, oh, I'm out here alone. My whole crew died. I'm also out here and my whole crew died. We need to work together for a central goal. Yep. No matter our differences. It sounds cheesy on the surface, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that left this movie like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. But like, I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cheesy at all.
No, I don't.
And their relationship, like you said, is just unbelievable through the whole movie. That they
It's
develop
so
this
good.
like friendship. It's funny, it's sad at times, it's emotional. They develop like this genuine friendship. Two creatures that are just completely not the same at all on any level, not even close.
Yeah, no, it is extremely sad at moments, but it was extremely like happy and like
Sad's the wrong word.
euphoric.
Sad's the wrong word. It's just emotional. It's not sadness. There's no real sadness in it.
Well, I mean, that's sadness. Like, I think I'm trying to remember the movie.
There are a few moments,
like when they have to even split up. You know,
yeah,
like,
that's sad.
That's sad.
That was sad.
Like,
yeah.
And then you found out like, oh shit, like, oh, Rocky's, he's like going through the whole thing about how the astrophage is in Rocky's ship and he's probably stranded. No, there's some sad moments for sure.
That's fair. I did feel bad.
But they always
Rocky,
kind of bring it back, which is great. It's like it's not just like a full on despair that we see.
I get choked up thinking about it.
I know.
So yeah, so bringing it back home, right? I said in the beginning, like sci-fi is normally obsessed with that like concept of humanity, right?
Yeah.
And just to go through a couple of examples of that to really sell it to people and to those of you listening, watching, like you don't really think about it when you watch sci-fi, but like all of it. It's like consciousness, emotion, memory, mortality. You think of a movie like Arrival, I mentioned earlier, is that can we transcend like human linear time? Interstellar also does that. Can we transcend human linear time? But mostly that movie is about, is love a force beyond humanity? Is it as natural as like physics itself? That's what Interstellar kind of asks. Ex Machina and Blade Runner. What's the line between human and machine and consciousness? Sorry, what were you going to say? I interrupted you.
No. I'm agreeing.
Project Hail Mary doesn't actually ask those questions. Instead, his Grace's humanity, like we've been saying, is irrelevant to the whole story. At the story's core, what matters is that he's alive. He thinks, he adapts, he connects, he wonders, and Rocky does all the same shit. And so the movie loves Rocky just as much as it loves Grace.
For sure, yeah. And Rocky, as far as humanity, you could even say Rocky has more humanity because he's got like the family at home that he has to get back to, right? Like, and Grace doesn't have really anything, right? He's just so it's,
because and that was a great way to illustrate their commonality, which is aliveness, being alive, curiosity, the will to persist and understand, and things like that. And so the ending is a payoff. Again, spoilers here. If you made it this far, then you shit out of luck. But when they separate, or they're supposed to separate, and Grace realizes like, oh fuck, Rocky's gonna like die on his trip back home. I gotta go. I can't even talk about it.
Gotta go get my boy.
I gotta go get my boy, the homie. Grace chooses at the end to stay with Rocky's people rather than return to Earth. And then we find out very quickly at the end that Rocky's people are working on a way for him to travel back to Earth, and he's kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna go back, type of thing.
Yeah. But also think about before even that, the resolve, like the selflessness it takes to go back to save this alien, right? Like you
from
say,
both
like
of
it's
them
just an
too.
alien.
Because Rocky originally was like, hey, I want to make it back to see my mate.
I can give you some,
but I'll give you some of my fuel so you can get back to Earth. It'll take me 6 years longer to get home, but like I want to do this for you.
It's so good. Yeah.
So yeah, they're both like selfless for each other.
To be able to do that from Grace's point, where he's like he already had given up, and then he got saved because Rocky's like, yeah, I'll give you some fuel, whatever, and now he has to do it again. It's like, oh man, that's some Superman shit.
Sure is. Yep. Sacrificing yourself for somebody else.
Not once, but twice.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy. Yeah.
Well, the first time wasn't really his choice, but
That's true. That is true.
And that's like a cool character moment too. Again, spoilers.
Well, actually, no, he did choose once when he kind of figured out what was going on and he was doing the math to figure out how to get back.
Well, I was
home.
talking about how he got there in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so Grace chooses to stay with Rocky, and that's him. He doesn't choose humanity. He chooses his connection with a being that shares his aliveness and this friendship that they developed in working together. And most, again, sci-fi endings return the hero to humanity or leave you questioning it, or when this one doesn't. I loved the ending of this movie. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, so good. Like,
and it left
because
me...
everyone won essentially, like, because he sent the drone probes back to Earth, so they get the samples, and it was cool to actually get to see Earth at the end of it, because I was wondering.
Well, so it was there must have been some sort of time jump, a significant one, because the other character,
for sure,
she was like made up to be older.
Yeah,
when she's
not just that, but you could.
Well, the Earth
was
started
substantially
freezing.
Cooler. Yeah.
Eva was the character played by Sandra Hüller. She was significantly older, so there was some passage of time there. I mean, obviously, because how long did it take to get to this star system? It was 11 light years away.
It was 11 light years, but they had somehow had a ship that went near light speed.
Yeah,
so.
I can't remember the exact passage of time, but it was definitely significant enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and it's like, the other thing that was cool about it too is like, it wasn't treated as like he betrayed humanity by staying, or it wasn't sad. It was just like, oh yeah, it was like the obvious decision. Like, why would you not?
Yeah.
He's a scientist. He's curious about the world, the universe around him. And like, of course you would go live on another planet with another species. Like, you know what I mean? It's not even a question.
Yeah, for sure.
And they built him like a beach and shit. It was pretty, like a biosphere.
Yeah, he had like a whole, that was insane.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't, like, I tried thinking about it. I don't know. I mean, you've seen less movies than me, not to call you out, but like, I can't think of another movie that really does this way, of that question of like, again, not humanity, but just alive in general. Can you think of any? Because I mean, maybe like Armageddon, like shit like that. But again, they're saving Earth, not like anything else. So that doesn't even count, actually. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah. I haven't seen one, I don't think.
Even Superman is about what it means to be human. You know what I mean? It's like, it's such a common theme because we are human. We make content that reflects us. It's what does Carl Sagan call it? Something centric. I think it's like geocentric or something that like everything is about us. Even the gods that we worship, like throughout history, they all reflect us. Oh, God made humans in his image. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Why do you think that is? There's a famous quote that if horses had gods and oxen had gods, that their gods would look like them as well. Of course.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's interesting that this movie did it this way. I thought it was brilliant. And I keep saying the movie, but it's credit is to the book, really.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing premise for a story to be told in this way. And I think it asks an illuminating question that most people probably don't think of on a day-to-day basis. I do, of course, because I'm an advanced being. You know, just of what it means, like your place in the universe, not just on Earth.
Right.
Like, people don't look outside of Earth. That's what we talked about with Carl Sagan, the cosmic perspective of that we are a blip of time and a blip of space. Like, we are a speck of dust, and we're nothing. But we also are very special and meaningful because we're rare. So it's stuff that I don't think most people actually think of. So now that we've talked through it, what do you think? Does that hold up, this theory of mine, or not theory? So, it's not a theory, like it is the movie, but
yeah, for sure. But the way they did it, like that, like Rocky and Grace were the central theme, but it didn't devalue any of the other parts of the movie, or like the science or sci-fi aspects. Like, it was all good. It was all cohesive still. It
all strengthened it. And
to me, it didn't feel cheesy at all. Like, it was, like you said, it strengthens it. Like, it just makes it that much more impactful. Like what's happening 100%. to the galaxy.
And where did I put it in my notes? I thought it was cool that, talking about acting and stuff like that, Rocky was puppetry. It was not CGI, which also added
crazy.
to, it really added to the, I guess like the emotion behind it. I don't know, maybe because sometimes when you have when you have an actor working with like a CGI cartoon character, essentially, like more often than not, there is a little bit of emotion that's lost there.
Yeah.
So that really, I think, definitely helped things. I mean, obviously, it's very strong. It's very strong aside from that, but I think that really helped sell it. He basically, it was a sophisticated physical puppet. The creature creator Neil Scanlon made it, is the guy's name, and it was a team of 6 puppeteers, and the actor James Ortiz was the one who operated the alien on set. And again, it gives Ryan Gosling like a tangible scene partner. And then they added obviously digital effects on top of that later to remove rigs and things like that.
Course.
So
yeah,
I think it worked out really well. It was really believable. He looked real, I guess, like if you want to call it that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And one thing else too, so I mentioned earlier the science that went into the movie was all real. Again, I'm going to link a video down below where he's on Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast and he could talk about it. He'll obviously talk about it better than me. But one thing that I thought was really interesting. So what's going on in this movie is called a panspermia event, where like these organisms are like basically eating the sun to reproduce.
Yeah.
And the panspermia is one of the theories about how life on Earth was seeded. Probably the likely scenario that life on Earth was seeded from elsewhere in the universe, that it's spread here. And the planet that Rocky comes from, this is really funny. This is the last thing I'll say, and then you could go watch the video after. But the planet that Rocky's from was based on a real exoplanet that we discovered like some years ago. I can't remember the name of it, but the exoplanet is closer to its star than Mercury is to Earth.
Huh.
So Andy Weir was like, oh, okay, well, what if life was on this planet? And he developed all the science. Oh, not developed.
Like how they would,
He used real science to create the species. Like, oh well, if the planet is extremely hot, well, they would probably have to adapt. Like they would have to live underground, so to stay away from the heat, and they would be more rocky, so that way they could deal with like the pressure and stuff like that. Oh well, they would also, if they lived underground, they wouldn't be exposed to light, so they wouldn't have any reason to develop eyes, and so they would use like echolocation and like all this stuff. So. It was a whole adaptive process based on this one planet and imagining like, well, how would life evolve there if it did? And the funny thing, and the funny thing about it was some years later, we discovered that the exoplanet that we thought was an exoplanet isn't anything at all. It was just some weird like signal in space. Yeah. So it was like completely accidental that he arrived at this story and this lore about Rocky and his planet.
Wow.
But yeah, so were there anything else you wanted to touch on with this before we wrap it up here?
No, I don't. I mean, just that this is the movie of 2026. Yep. Like you can't ask for better. Like
the hype is real, folks.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it really is. Like this one does not. This ain't no long legs.
This ain't no long legs for sure. If you're skeptical about the hype being real or reviews being paid for, not this one. This one. Mm-mm. This one nails every moment of this movie is good and emotional and special. My favorite movie of the year so far. It's not been a long year yet, but this one will be tough to beat going forward.
And the whole concept of like, because it is affecting the galaxy, it's like a galaxy plague, right? Like it's not like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen anything outside, like anything like this before. Mm-mm. Not something that's based in like reality, like comic books do like
well,
shit
this is based in reality, Oh, that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I haven't seen anything like this outside of like comic books. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is what I say, the DNA of Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. A lot of the visuals in this, the special effects, especially when like he's out on the spacewalk and he's like actually like harvesting the DNA
Yeah.
or whatever, and it's all glowy and lit up. Like it
Yeah.
has a very comic booky feel to it. This movie.
Yeah, for sure.
This feels like a comic book movie sci-fi. Like it has Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah.
vibes a little bit and shit like that.
Yeah.
But definitely more grounded in reality. I'll go so far as to say that I think this is one of the best sci-fi movies in years. Maybe the best sci-fi movie I've seen in a very long time.
A very long time. I completely agree.
Yeah.
This one definitely is better than The Martian, and I mean,
I like this better than Interstellar. I'll just say it.
It's so good.
Interstellar is a great movie.
It's so different too than Interstellar, though. So it's like,
but you
know.
Christopher Nolan fans are fart sniffers. So no, I'm kidding. But this is one of the best sci-fi movies, hands down, that I've seen in a very, very long time.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, this movie is the central question. What does it mean to be alive? And so we agree that holds up that concept. What do you think by the end of the movie? Do you think do you have an answer to that question? What does it mean to be alive? I think the movie does answer the question, personally. Do you think it answers the question?
I think so. I don't even know how I would answer it, though. Like, it's not an easy thing to put into words.
Well, I'll tell you, I think it answers the question saying that life is special no matter where it's from, and that we should do our best to preserve it.
Yeah.
In all forms. Sure. Talking to you, hunters, you idiots. No, but like seriously, like life is special. Maybe it's rare. It's rare no matter what. Like it is rare. We know that much. And so you could find commonality with other people. I mean, there's all those messages in there, but like,
the
main one.
You're gonna put a battery in the backs of pro-lifers out there.
They're gonna be all charged up.
Yeah, like, oh, he's right. See,
am I a pro-lifer actually? Oh fuck, I might be. But yeah, so this movie has an 8.3 on IMDb. It's very high. I don't think it's high enough. This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
This movie is an 11. Like this is
baby.
No, it's definitely a 10. Like it's like I said, I just loved every single thing about this.
It doesn't get better than a movie like this. It had tension, it had heart, it had emotion, it had good story. It had everything. The acting was great.
Everything.
We didn't even really talk too much about Ryan Gosling, but he was like the perfect person to play this movie, to play this character, because he has comedic timing, he has charm, and he has an innocence to him, and that's what really sells this character, is that he has this like this boyish curiosity and innocence to him.
That is another thing I wanted to talk about too, because it was like almost divine timing with. Sadly, like, the science team died because they were blown up. But if you think about like how an actual astronaut would have approached everything that happened, it would have been completely different than like a normal teacher type of guy, right? Like he's still a scientist, but he's like a teacher.
Yeah, but what's the scientist?
He connects with people.
What is a scientist, Marvin? What is the number one trait of a scientist?
Curiosity.
There it is.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson says it all the time that children are scientists because children are curious and they play with dirt and they rub sticks together and they polish rocks and they're experiencing the world around them and trying to understand it. And then when you get older, you lose that curiosity because you understand things. Scientists never lose that curiosity. That's why they do science, is to understand the world around them. There are some people that say, mostly religious people, that say, I don't need to understand the world. This is God's will. God made this. Like, there's a famous quote from, can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's a scientist. And he says, I have a friend who's a painter, and he tells me that because I'm a scientist, like, I don't understand the beauty of a flower because I analyze it and it loses its beauty. And he's like, well, I would argue the opposite. I see the beauty on a whole other level as you, because I see it on a deeper molecular scale of how chlorophyll works and like all this stuff and
photosynthesis.
And I understand that like, oh, well, bees could actually see color and that plants have evolved to have color, bright color, because bees could see the color and then pollinate them and
Attract
spread.
the pollen, yeah.
And like that is more beauty than just being like, oh, it's fucking red and pretty. Like, you know
Looks
what I'm saying?
good.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, I agree. What did I even bring up?
We were talking about that he had this like boyish curiosity to him.
Yeah, I was saying that to say like, astronauts are like military essentially. Like they're trained. Usually they're like pilots or
but not in their hearts. Like they're do it for the exploratory purposes of it. Usually, I mean, I don't know.
I just think like, but yes, procedure wise,
yes,
they may not be so keen to work with.
He's a normie.
An alien.
They'd probably kill it and take it home for evaluation. Yeah,
yeah. So,
I get what you're saying.
Like it had to be him, like someone that wasn't an actual astronaut.
Dusty left us some notes on the movie. He gives this movie an 8. Nine's his perfect.
You got some gripes?
9's is perfect and not a 10, and he won't ever give anything a 9. So 8 is essentially perfect.
Oh yeah, so which is crazy.
Because he's a weirdo. I mean, he was installing.
It doesn't even make sense when I think about it. Like
he's weird. Whatever.
You might as well just give everything give the good stuff a 9.
Yeah. He said it's a unique space story that is told well. He enjoyed the story being told by weaving the two timelines together. So he pretty much agrees with us. He loved the cinematography, but all the spinning camera shots made Christina nauseous. She had to close her eyes. I could see how this could give you a little motion sickness sometimes.
Yeah.
Gosling did a great job expressing the fear and despair of waking up alone in space, as well as dealing with knowing his fate. Yep. The levity and comedic relief was good, but at times a little too much for what was actually happening. But it wasn't distracting enough to create a negative experience. Okay. And then he said he's watched it twice so far, once in the theater and once on digital. I'm sure I'll see it again sometime, but this film won't be one I'm racing to rewatch over and over. Great movie.
That's crazy.
Watch it if you haven't. You won't regret it. Okay. That's fair.
That's fair. I honestly could easily rewatch this the same way I could easily rewatch Interstellar or even The Martian, because I've watched that several times too.
Absolutely.
It's just sci-fi is so different than just like your normal day-to-day experience, right? Like it's something that you could, or for me, I could easily watch like a sci-fi stuff multiple times.
Yep.
Because it's just that sense of wonder of like, it's fiction, but that shit is out there. Like
the truth
you can get
is
a telescope
out there
right now and see some crazy shit, So
absolutely.
It's like,
I mean, you could see it with binoculars.
Right, yeah. It's a crazy thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us, folks. There's our thoughts on Project Hail Mary, the movie of the year so far. I think for me, Marvin definitely agrees. Check it out if 100%. You haven't seen it. For real, great movie. And if you have seen it, or if you do watch it, I want you to come back and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about it. I would love to talk more about this movie and see what other people's takes on it was. Like, do you think? Yeah. What do you think my thesis, if you will, on it stands? Like, do you feel it's more about like life in general over humanity, or did I miss something? Leave a comment and let us know. We do this once a week. And we post our schedule in advance for the month, usually over on our Discord. It's free to join. If you'd like to join, come say hi to us. Last week, we watched Pizza Movie, possibly a revival of the early 2000s sort of like drug comedy slapstick thing that they did, like Dude, Where's My Car? Harold and Kumar. So if that's your thing and you watched Pizza Movie, you could click the video link there and check out that conversation. Marvin wasn't there for that one, but he was there in spirit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we will catch you guys next week. We appreciate everybody watching or listening wherever you might be, and we will catch you next time.
See ya.